Hello class, the two texts that I'm going to be reviewing are A Room of One's Own by Virginia Woolf and Requiem by Anna Akhmatova. In this text, the main characters are Judith Shakespeare, which is the fictional character that was created and is the sister of William Shakespeare. William was not actually in the story, but his name along with other authors' names were in the story. One concept in this text is the importance of education. During this time period, men had many more opportunities than women did. The effects that it had on women was that they felt less educated and they had less opportunities than the men. And the effects on the men, it made them feel like they were better than the women. It made them desire for superiority. This text has references to Milton, Shakespeare, Gray, and Austen. Another concept that was touched on during the discussion posts was why Shakespeare? Why did Virginia Woolf create a fictional sister that was related to William Shakespeare? And the answer is because Shakespeare is a very known author throughout the entire world. What Virginia Woolf wanted to put into perspective, if William had been a girl at this time, all of the influence on literature that he has had up to this day could have never existed because of the lack of opportunities that girls and women had during this time period. Another concept is the style of the text. It originally was in a lecture format, and then Woolf decided to turn it into a story format where she created a fictional narrator, and it's through the thoughts and actions of that character. She creates this fictional character, and many people believe it's possibly because she wanted to avoid any accusations towards her during her questionable claims at the time. The most important quotes and moments that I found in this text are listed on this slide. The first quote is while Judith is walking towards an area that only the fellows and scholars are allowed to be in. There's a guard nearby at this time that's keeping a very close eye on her and making sure she's not going too close to it. The second quote is the whole idea of the entire argument. It describes why women really during this time period couldn't be influential, and it's because of the lack of freedom that they're allowed to have. The third quote is my personal favorite because of the metaphor where it relates the fish to Woolf's whole entire argument. Her thoughts at the beginning are not important, similar to the fish that's thrown back because of its lack of value. But after some time, her ideas, just as the fish does, will be very influential. In this text, the narrator is Anna, and she talks about her husband and her son, so I also listed them on this character page as well. One concept is the origin of this piece. The origin came during Stalin's rule in Russia. Anna watched her family and her friends be arrested, and she spoke poems that got passed around orally about this. Once these stories got around, Anna had to burn all of her papers because if they were found by the police, she herself could have gotten arrested as well. Requiem is a piece of modernist literature. It lacks a unified style, and it's broken up into random stanzas that have various lengths and rhyme patterns. But it is a narrative poem, which is a poem that tells a story with a narrator and characters. Another concept is the politics of the piece. This whole piece is about a Russian mother's pain during Stalin's rule in Russia. The poem is a self-literary response to the political situation that she's in. She even writes a letter to Stalin asking him to release her son from prison. One concept that was talked about during the discussions was instead of a preface. A preface is an introductory remark that the speaker or author makes about their piece. Instead of a preface, this author kind of describes an opening scene that's before the entire story that kind of gives sort of a mood and the tone that the story is about to exhibit. And that's explained with the quote, "Then something that looked like a smile passed over what had once been on her face." And these are the most important quotes that I found during this text. The first one is when Anna just lost her husband and knows that her son is in prison. So she's kind of talking about how hopeless she feels at the moment, wanting people to say prayers for her. And the second quote is when Anna is relating herself to Mary, the mother of Jesus, while she was watching her son be crucified. And this comparison really shows how Anna is feeling about her situations and her losses. And these are my works cited. Good luck on the test, everyone.